The audacity of asking, how one question can change everything. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we challenge perspectives and ignite ambitions. Today, we're diving into a conversation that will revolutionize the way you think about success, opportunity, and the power of a single question. We're honored to share insights from our recent interview with Tina White, a true trailblazer who's redefining success in industries traditionally dominated by white men. Tina isn't just breaking barriers, she's shattering entire paradigms and paving the way for a new generation of leaders. Imagine for a moment walking into a boardroom where you're the only person who looks like you. The air is thick with unspoken judgments and silent doubts. Now imagine not just surviving in that room, but thriving, commanding attention, and closing deals that others thought impossible. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. This is Tina White's daily reality. Tina's story is more than inspiring. It's a masterclass in turning rejection into triumph, fear into fuel, and obstacles into opportunities. As the only black woman in the United States with an executed contract with Michelin as a commercial tires and forklift tire dealer, Tina has achieved what many would consider impossible. But here's the kicker. She didn't get there by following a conventional path. She got there by asking questions that others were too afraid to ask. Let's pause for a moment and let that sink in. How many times have you stopped yourself from asking a question because you were afraid of the answer? How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because you let your mind decide the outcome before you even tried it? Tina's philosophy challenges us to our core. Never let your mind answer a question you didn't ask. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's a revolutionary approach to life and business. It's about having the audacity to ask, to challenge, to push beyond the boundaries that society or even our own minds have set for us. Tina's client list reads like a who's who of American industry. Disney, MARTA, buses in Atlanta. These aren't just names. They're testaments to her tenacity. And if that wasn't impressive enough, Tina's also blazing trails in the world of sustainable transportation, selling and installing EV chargers for Amazon across the USA and Canada. Now, you might be thinking that's great for her, but I could never do that. And that right there is exactly the kind of thinking Tina White's story challenges us to overcome. Because here's the truth. Tina wasn't born with these contracts in her hand. She didn't start out selling to industry giants. She built her success one question at a time, one rejection at a time, one victory at a time. Let me share with you a powerful insight from our conversation. Tina said, I wake up every day winning and overcoming obstacles and winning when the day is done because I thrive that day on terms that I decided were the appropriate terms to define my measurement of success. This right here is the secret sauce. Tina's not waiting for external validation. She's not measuring her worth by someone else's yardstick. She's defining success on her own terms. And that gives her the freedom to take risks, to ask those difficult questions, to face rejection head on. But let's get real for a moment. In a world where systemic racial and financial barriers are very real, especially for black entrepreneurs, Tina's approach isn't just inspirational, it's revolutionary. She doesn't deny the existence of these obstacles. Instead, she refuses to let them define her story or limit her potential. Think about it. How many times have you looked at a job posting and thought, they'd never hire someone like me? How often have you passed up on a business opportunity because you assumed you weren't qualified or connected enough? These are the moments where we let our minds answer questions we haven't even asked. Tina's philosophy challenges us to reframe these moments. Instead of assuming rejection, why not approach with curiosity? Instead of self-doubt, why not lead with self-belief? Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, easy for her to say. She's already successful. But here's the thing. Success isn't a destination, it's a journey. And every step of that journey is paved with questions, with challenges, with moments of doubt that we have to push through. Let me share a story that illustrates this point perfectly. Early in her career, Tina was faced with an opportunity to bid on a major contract. The room was filled with established players, all men, all with years of experience in the industry. Tina could have easily talked herself out of even showing up. But instead, she asked herself a different question. What if I'm exactly what they're looking for, even if they don't know it yet? With that mindset, she walked into that room, not as an outsider, but as a solution provider. She asked questions that no one else thought to ask. She presented ideas that challenged the status quo. And guess what? She won that contract. Not because she was the most experienced or had the biggest team, but because she had the audacity to ask, to challenge. to bring a fresh perspective. This story isn't just about winning a contract. It's about the power of reframing our internal narrative. It's about understanding that our greatest limitations often come from within. By refusing to let her mind answer questions she hadn't asked, Tina opened doors that many would have assumed were locked tight. Now, let's break this down into actionable steps. How can we apply Tina's philosophy to our own lives? First, identify the questions you're afraid to ask. Maybe it's asking for a raise, pitching to a big client, or applying for that dream job. Write these questions down. Make them real. Second, challenge yourself to actually ask these questions. Remember, you're not looking for a yes or a no. You're looking for information, for opportunity, for growth. Third, redefine your metrics of success. Don't let external factors be the sole measure of your worth. What does winning look like for you? Is it learning something new? Is it pushing past your comfort zone? Is it simply having the courage to ask? Fourth, embrace rejection as a learning opportunity. Every no is information. It's a chance to refine your approach, to understand the market better, to improve your skills. And finally, celebrate your wins, big and small. Did you make that call you've been putting off? That's a win. Did you pitch your idea in a meeting? That's a win. Did you get a no, but ask for feedback? That's a massive win. And let me share another story from Tina's journey that illustrates the power of this approach. When Tina first approached Michelin about becoming a dealer, she was met with skepticism. The industry was dominated by established players. And Tina was an outsider in every sense of the word. But instead of accepting the initial rejection, Tina asked a different question. What would it take for Michelin to see me as a valuable partner? This question led her down a path of research, networking, and skill development that ultimately positioned her as not just a viable option, but as the best option for Michelin in certain markets. This wasn't just about persistence. It was about strategic questioning. It was about reframing the conversation from why should we work with you to how can we work together to create value. This shift in perspective, driven by the power of asking the right questions, ultimately led to Tina becoming the only black woman in the United States with an executed contract with Michelin as a commercial tires and forklift tire dealer. Now, I want to address something important. Tina's success in white male-dominated industries doesn't mean racism and sexism don't exist. It doesn't mean the playing field is suddenly level. What it does mean is that these barriers, while real and challenging, are not insurmountable. Tina's approach reminds us that while we can't control every circumstance, we can control our response. We can choose to ask questions that open doors rather than assuming those doors are closed. We can choose to define success on our own terms rather than accepting limitations imposed by others. Think about the ripple effects of this mindset. Every time Tina succeeds, she's not just winning for herself. She's changing perceptions. She's opening doors for others. She's proving that excellence knows no color, no gender, no predetermined limits. And here's where it gets really exciting. Imagine a world where more of us adopted this mindset. A world where we didn't let our preconceptions limit our potential. A world where we were brave enough to ask the difficult questions, to challenge the status quo, to redefine what's possible. That's the world Tina White is helping to create, one question at a time. And that's the challenge she's laying at our feet. But let's not stop at individual success. Let's think bigger. How can this mindset of audacious questioning transform entire communities, industries, even societies? Consider Tina's work in sustainable transportation. By asking questions about the future of mobility and energy, she's not just building a business, she's contributing to solutions for climate change. She's creating jobs in emerging industries. She's shaping the future of transportation. This is the power of asking the right questions. It's not just about personal success. It's about creating ripple effects that can change the world. So let me ask you this. What question have you been afraid to ask? What opportunity have you talked yourself out of before even trying? What would change in your life if you approached each day with the mindset of a giant slayer, armed with nothing but curiosity and courage? Because here's the truth. You are capable of so much more than you think. The barriers you perceive may not be as solid as they appear, but you'll never know unless you ask, unless you try, unless you redefine what winning means to you. Tina White's story isn't just about business success. It's about personal revolution. It's about the power of mindset to transform not just our own lives, but the world around us. As we wrap up this talk, I want to leave you with a challenge. This isn't just about feeling inspired for a moment. This is about taking action. This is about creating real change in your life and in the world around you. Here's your challenge this week. Identify one question you've been afraid to ask. It could be in your personal life, your career, or your community. Write it down. Now, commit to asking that question. Not next month, not when you feel ready, but this week. Remember, you're not looking for a specific answer. You're opening a door to possibility. Next, redefine what success looks like for you in this situation. Is it simply having the courage to ask? Is it learning something new? Is it opening up a conversation that needs to happen? Finally, share your experience. Tell someone what you did, what you learned, how it felt, because your act of courage might just inspire someone else to do the same. Remember, in the words of Tina White, never let your mind answer a question you didn't ask. Your future self will thank you for the courage you showed today. The world is waiting for your questions, for your ideas, for your unique contribution. Don't keep it waiting any longer. Ask that question, challenge that assumption, redefine what's possible. Because here's the ultimate truth. The most powerful question you can ask is, why not me? Why not you to break that barrier? Why not you to solve that problem? Why not you to change the world? So go ahead, ask, challenge, redefine. The world is waiting for your questions. And who knows, your question might just be the one that changes everything. Thank you.